So let me take this question to Smriti Koppikar. Smriti Koppikar, we have heard this discussion in the last few days about how the new cabinet should look like. Like Shailendra Paranjpe was saying just a while ago, like there's a discussion that the newer faces, the younger leadership should be brought in, that is the leadership in the pipeline, and they should be given the opportunity to be the cabinet ministers so that they handle bigger responsibilities. And that is why one of the thoughts was to give veterans a break, to make them take a back seat, and to make sure that the fresh blood comes in government. With the way the things are right now, with the chief minister and the deputy chief minister swearing in, that clearly does not look to be the thinking in the government right now. We saw that the BJP at one point did toy with the idea of giving a shock treatment, a surprise treatment in Maharashtra about whether there would be any other name that would bring. It would have had to adhere to the combination politics as well. And we have seen that they've fallen back to this combination which continues. So, though the positions change, we will see the same combination of Eknath Shinde, Devendra Fadnavis, Ajit Pawar at the helm in state politics. Do you think that that will have a reflection on the way the cabinet will be sworn in, whether fresh blood will be brought in, or whether due to political compulsions or for some other reasons, the veterans will have to stay?
Good question, Vinaya. I think the way the assembly election result has turned out, and the stories that have gone on behind it, what seems to be very clear is that Maharashtra's political terrain, the way we knew it for, let's say, the past 3 decades, 35 years, that has changed. It began changing some time back, but this is a decisive change. And a story that's sort of gone below the radar would be the fact that there's been a generational shift. This election has seen a generational shift within parties and at the alliance level as well. For example, in the BJP, I think Mr. Fadnavis made it very clear that he's going to call the shots, and he's not really a veteran in that sense. He's not a complete newcomer, of course, but he's not a veteran. The older people had much less to do. He was calling the shots back in 2014. He was calling the shots in 2022 when he worked all the shenanigans out to split the Shiv Sena, and then last year to split the NCP. So I think there's been that generational shift in the BJP. In the NCP, for sure, Mr. Ajit Pawar has sent a very clear message that the party may have been set up 25, 26 years ago by his uncle, but he is clearly in command right now, and the handover of that baton has happened. Also in the Shiv Sena to a certain extent. So there is a generational shift. But the question here is, can the veterans or can the senior people in each of these parties be kept at home and a completely new look cabinet be formed with Mr. Fadnavis, Shinde and Ajit Pawar leading it? I don't think so at the moment, because while the parties would like to blood their young people, as the saying goes in cricket, they cannot completely afford to keep the veterans or the senior people at home, because there is going to be a clamor. There is the senior people in each party command a certain political space in their own constituencies in the state, and their leaders cannot ignore that. What seems to be happening is, in the generational shift, the baton seems to be passed on in many cases from the older person in that family, in that political family, to a younger person. So my point is that we can have a younger, fresher looking cabinet, but it's going to be cut off the same old cloth, because, for example, if it was not Eknath Shinde, we would have had Shrikant Shinde. And so, I think this is what we're going to see over the next few days and months. So even if the veterans are made to sit at home, which I don't think will happen, but even if that comes to pass, The younger people from the same families will have to be inducted, will be inducted, because let's not forget that about 88 or 89 of the MLAs elected this time come from political families and dynasties of some sort. So there is that political capital that none of the three, Mr. Fadnavis, Mr. Shinde, or Mr. Ajit Pawar, can really ignore.
Well, that is deeply entrenched. And in fact, it is an important conversation because we've seen that this has been a decisive election where everything was at stakes for both Mahavikas Aghadi as well as Mahayuti. We are going to go to that conversation. But before that, I want to tell all the viewers and readers of The Hindu who are tuned into this podcast that this is bringing us towards the end of this webinar, but now we are moving to an interactive question and answer session where you, the viewers, will have the opportunity to discuss your queries with the esteemed panelists that we have on board. This session will be open only to the digital subscribers of the Hindu group. So if you have not yet subscribed, kindly drop off, and we hope to see you again in our upcoming webinars. If, however, you do wish to join in for this question and answer session, you may click on the link in the chat box that is given below and purchase a subscription at a special offer. So don't miss this opportunity to have a word with the panelists here who have been covering politics for decades at end. And with this interesting discussion about the cabinet going on, we will switch back to the discussion now. And, as Smriti rightly put out, with respect to the veterans playing an important role, let me take the same point to Shailendra Paranjpe, who continues to be with us on this discussion. Shailendra Paranjpe, as I was saying to Smriti Koppikar, that this is an important election, really. It was an all stakes election for both Mahavikas Aghadi as well as Mahayuti, just on the background of the Lok Sabha elections, in which the Mahavikas Aghadi had performed quite well, and that is why the hopes were high. Nobody saw this tide coming, and now, after this decisive mandate, which was not anticipated even by the Mahayuti themselves, clearly those who have won want to make sure that they get a fair share of their deal because they have brought this victory and these resounding numbers to the Mahayuti. Do you think that that will be a major consideration while thinking of portfolio allocation? What are the things on which the Mahayuti will now have to juggle to decide who gets that cabinet berth at a time when there is a stiff competition and where leaders have performed?
Okay, Vinaya, now I will cite certain names within BJP. Look, Chandrakant Patil. Many people really don't know about. I generally don't encourage discussions based on caste, religion, subcaste, etc. Because I don't want that division should go on within the society. But caste is a reality in India, and in that perspective, I'm right now telling about certain names within BJP. Now we all know that this assembly election has a huge backdrop of Maratha reservation agitation and Manoj Jarange Patil going to media every day abusing Devendra Fadnavis. All right. Now that has
He
also
continues
helped.
to threaten even today.
That's why Devendra Fadnavis has really received a big help from Jarange Patil to get many seats in Marathwada. First, another point is that I will cite certain names within BJP leaders, very known leaders.
Before that, I
Now,
want you to
think about,
elaborate on that because this is an interesting point you're making, Shailendra Paranjpe. We have a
yeah,
national
yeah, yeah.
viewership here which does not,
Okay,
which may not understand the nuances of Maharashtra politics. When you say that
okay.
Jarange Patil helped Fadnavis get seats in Marathwada, please elaborate. What do you mean?
Exactly. Now I will give you and to the audience also some background about Marathwada. When Jarange Patil started his agitation way back, many years back, for Maratha reservation records and registrations only for Marathwada region, because during Nizam rule they were not registered as Kunbis and they were Maratha warriors. So he wanted to make changes and amend those registration and records to Maratha Kunbi so that they get reservation benefits for OBCs, like on the lines of OBCs. Now, after some tussle between the ruling alliance, mega alliance, that Fadnavis, Eknath Shinde, and Ajit Pawar, Jarange Patil was talking at the behest of whom was the real question. So Eknath Shinde suddenly announced that those registrations and records will not be amended or rectified only for Marathwada region. For the entire Maharashtra, he will review those. So that created a big hue and cry within Maratha community. And like all of us who covered Maharashtra politics know that this Maratha Kunbi issue is not so predominant in Vidarbha region, because first agriculture minister of this country, Punjabrao Deshmukh, had taken a padayatra or uh, uh, trip to entire Vidarbha region on foot, convincing all the Vidarbha farmers to register themselves as Kunbis. Kunbis are those Marathas who take to agriculture for survival, and Marathas were the warriors who fought for Shivaji Maharaj army. So, Vidarbha, you don't have this Maratha reservation issue, nor that we have in Konkan belt. So, it is predominantly there in Marathwada. So, it was expected that Maha Vikas Aghadi, that is Congress, Uddhav Thackeray Sena, and Sharad Pawar will have upper hand in Marathwada. The same thing applies to Vidarbha because their caste combination is in favor of Maha Vikas Aghadi, because SC/ST population is more than 30%, and it was late Bharat Ratna Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar who left Hindu religion and adopted Buddhism in Nagpur. Why in Nagpur? Because Vidarbha people always claim that Vidarbha was never a part of Maharashtra, even before 1960. It was part of central province. Now in Mumbai Ilaka or Mumbai province, we had Gujarat and adjoining areas, but not Vidarbha. Vidarbha was part of central province. So when Baba Sahib Ambedkar decided to live Hindu religion and adopt Buddhism, the Dharmantar or that was Diksha Bhumi was in Nagpur. Why? Because Mahar community was highly saturated in Vidarbha region in Nagpur and adjoining areas. So right now also Vidarbha favors Congress even after emergency to Indira Gandhi. The reason behind is that is demographic uh, reason. So in the same way, when Vidarbha was seen to be backing Congress for years, now BJP has clinched victory in Vidarbha. They have clinched victory in Marathwada. Now I will come to the point that how Jarange has helped Fadnavis. When Jarange was really abusing Fadnavis every day for almost 2 years, it was impossible for Fadnavis to even go for campaigning in Marathwada during Lok Sabha elections. Now, once constitution or Samvidhan issue is faded out during Lok Sabha elections, the same issue cannot apply for assembly. The same issue of Jarange cannot, because it was already used, the weapon was used. What happened is RSS made heavy efforts, massive efforts in Marathwada, because it was Fadnavis who founded Sarthi, the institution for giving benefits to Maratha youth. They have got number of statistics and Maratha beneficiaries, youth who have benefited for foreign scholarships, who have benefited to appear and succeed in UPSC exams, have become IS, have become IPS, have become PSI. So all those people now, RSS people have gone to Marathwada, all the 8 districts, and gone to Maratha families with the list of beneficiaries in all the 8 districts, and telling them that despite the fact that Jarange is abusing everyday Fadnavis, it was Fadnavis who had chipped in for welfare of Maratha community as a whole. And now they have given the list to all the Maratha people in Marathwada region, because 34 organizations of RSS, that is right wing organizations, have worked to the grassroots for last 6 months after Lok Sabha elections, so that the entire perception about BJP changed, that they are not anti-Maratha. All right. So the same thing has happened in Marathwada, and that was witnessed during the assembly results on 23rd. That is how when Fadnavis was made Maratha enemy during the Lok Sabha elections, is now no more Maratha enemy. And as we all know, when all the elections in Maharashtra, right from 1960, Maratha community has not voted like minorities en masse to Congress or en masse to NCP. They are all divided in all the four parties. Shiv Sena also has got good Maratha backing. NCP has, Congress has, and BJP also has. So that has happened, and Marathwada transformed to BJP now, so that the same thing will reflect in cabinet formation. What I referred to removing the oldies or veterans, now take the case of Chandrakant Patil. It was discussed in last entire week that Chandrakant Patil might be made either state unit president or Vidhan Sabha chair. Why? Because he has been shifted from Kolhapur to Pune. So Medha Kulkarni was made Rajya Sabha MP. Now there is one woman MLA from Pune who is fourth time MLA. Now Ladki Bahin is there to counter that. If they make BJP MLA as state minister or something, they will have advantage in Pune municipal corporation elections, because the corporations which are important, because Maharashtra has crossed 50% for urbanization. So big centers, big city centers, including Pune, Mumbai, Nashik, Nagpur, Sholapur, Kolhapur, Pimpri Chinchwad, if they want to clinch victory in local body elections, they will have to make sure that there are good ministers or ministerial birds from those areas. Take case of Satara. In Satara, if BJP has an image of not being so friendly with Marathas, because Marathas is the constituency of Sharad Pawar. Sharad Pawar's party essentially is looked like, or people look at it as Marathas party. So if they make Shivendra Raje Bhosle a cabinet minister who hails from Chhatrapati family, if he is given cabinet berth, that will have impact in Satara and Kolhapur region. So the efforts will be of those kind. Dilip Valse Patil or Chandrakant Patil or certain veterans can be made to sit back, because that will not hamper their prospects in local body elections. If Datta Bharane, a trusted lieutenant of Ajit Pawar in Indapur, who defeated Harshvardhan Patil and has been elected third time and was a minister in Uddhav's cabinet, or even in Eknath Shinde's cabinet, he might be asked to sit back, and Shelke from Pimpri Chinchwad area might be going, but because Pimpri Chinchwad corporation is important, Ajit Pawar wants to win that, and Indapur is not important because it's a Nagar Parishad. It is not going to hamper Ajit Pawar's prospects in local body elections. Now assembly is over. We are discussing cabinet and assembly elections. Now leaders are thinking for local body elections. Their planning already has started. Caste combination, age combination, veteran and fresh blood. That combination will start. BJP will have sizable ministerial bus from Marathwada, because Marathwada is not fertile land for them so far. Now they will ensure that they make inroads in Marathwada as well as in Western Maharashtra, and that's was the meaning that oldies will be asked to sit back. It is not that entirely all the oldies will be asked to sit back. There will be a good combination of caste. Now STs, STs. Now people are discussing that from Bid, Dhananjay Munde as well as Pankaja Munde. How can both be made ministers? But I am sure that both will be made ministers. Ajit Pawar will have a say for making Dhananjay Munde, and Fadnavis will ensure that Pankaja Munde is minister, because no other leader in BJP has strength to organize a big, big, big mela at Bhagwangarh. Only Pankaja can organize. Plus, Pankaja has got good relations and impact over caste in Ahmednagar politics also, where BJP is not that strong. So all those considerations will come into play when they approach local body elections. And I don't think Fadnavis or Ajit Pawar is thinking of cabinet bursts. They are now thinking of local body elections right up to Gram Panchayat level. And that exercise brain level has started at Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar. Eknath Shinde is indulging in cabinet bursts because his ministers, including him, are not politically as seasoned as Devendra Fadnavis or Ajit Pawar, despite the fact that Ajit Pawar has not been a chief minister yet. I am sure that even if Eknath Shinde has adequate experience of 2 years and 3 months of chief minister, Ajit Pawar is a better politician than Eknath Shinde, because he operates at cooperatives level, sugar factory, then dairy politics, and Western Maharashtra, which Eknath Shinde cannot. And that is how they are now indulging in local body elections rather than cabinet births. Cabinet birth and exercise will go on, but Eknath Shinde will be only looking for adjusting his people, because he has interest in Thane, Konkan, as well as a part of Marathwada and some parts of Vidarbha. Ajit Pawar will have to look for Western Maharashtra, and Fadnavis will have to be worried about Marathwada as well as Western Maharashtra. That is how cabinet will be created, and they already must have started brain exercise. They must have chalked out all the lines and all that. We'll be analyzing after they give the birds. That is the position.
Well, very good perspective there, Shailendra Paranjpe. Smriti Koppikar, Shailendra Paranjpe brings about points that are in consideration while deciding how the Maharashtra cabinet is going to look like. He says, caste combinations will obviously be there, but the eyes are now cast on the local body elections and how those electoral gains will have to translate. And that is how the allocations will now be decided. So, as you said, it will be a combination of veterans plus new blood. What will be the considerations that will weigh on the minds of the three leaders, particularly on the minds of Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar, he says, because they're more seasoned than Eknath Shinde. Do you think that Ladki Bahin will have any role to play in this cabinet allocation now? Do you think that women will be given some share? We will at least see a handful of women in this cabinet because of the way the elections have turned out to be.
Well, I think Shailendra has
I
laid
can
it
see
out
that
very
he's
beautifully.
vigorously nodding his head. So, do you agree
He's
with
laid it out.
Shailendra?
He's laid it out very beautifully.
Sorry,
Seed
Smruti. Sorry, I will add one line. Being male on the show, only male on the show, I forgot to refer that because of Ladli Bahin, there will be definitely more women in cabinet, I think, because in parliament also they are going to increase the seats in coming election. So definitely women will have increased share. I'm sorry.
I am happy you're
Thank you.
giving that good minority perspective on the show that's majority by women. Thank you, Shailendra.
33%. He's 33% on this show. So no, I think he did a very good seat by seat and person by person analysis. So I'm not going to go there, but just to emphasize the point Shailendra was making, and which is important, is that the difference between the assembly results of 2019 and 2024 in the two of the three regions that made a massive difference to the BJP and its allies is in Marathwada. The BJP and its allies 5 years ago had got 61% of the seats. This time they've got 90% of the seats. In Paschim Maharashtra, in Western Maharashtra, in 2019, they had 38% of the seats in Western Maharashtra. This time, they have 78% of the seats in Western Maharashtra. So, clearly, I mean, Khandesh also, they've made a huge impact and taken the jump has been very high. Vidarbha, of course, there's no need to emphasize that. So I can't see a situation where they will leave or decide to leave one of the two Mundes and make the people of Marathwada less happy. Am I audible? Am I on the
Yes,
line?
you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't see that at all. In fact, the problem of plenty is, I think, going to nag this government and the chief minister a lot. But your question was about Ladki Bahin. And of course, it is going to have an impact. But I've been saying this on every show or every analysis since the 23rd. While the Ladki Bahin Yojana, and that was not the only Yojana, there were many others, the farm waivers, um, the scholarships to the young men and all of that. There were a number of so-called populist schemes that were rolled out in the last 5-6 months. But Ladki Bahin has somehow caught the imagination of the national media and the international media, if I may say so, because I got a question about that from one of them. While without overstating, there's a danger of overstating the impact of the Ladki Bahin Yojana on everything that we see around us. While not taking away that as a factor that got the Mahayuti the seats that it did, will it impact government formation, cabinet, seat, women? I want to just pause here and bring to your notice and the notice of everyone who's watching this is that despite Ladki Bahin Yojana and despite the lacks of more women coming out to vote this time, ostensibly because of the Yojana, the number of women in the Maharashtra legislature is less than the last legislature and the one before that. So we have fewer women MLAs in 24 than we did 5 years ago. Will the government now have to take note? And what I'm looking at is there is this narrative that was created about the Ladki Bahin Yojana and its impact on the seats. Its impact is probably overstated because there were a number of other factors, but that narrative has stuck and it cannot now be ignored. So even if Ladki Bahin Yojana contributed, say, 20% or 25% to this massive mandate, the fact that that narrative has now become stuck in everybody's mind in the last 2 weeks, that this is what got Mahayuti the numbers, they will have to honor that narrative and keep that narrative going. So, yes, there will be tokenisms, like getting more women into the cabinet, like, the ministers taking their mother's name. For example, yesterday we saw in the legislature party, from the BJP president to Pankaja Munde, everybody made it a point to call Fadnvis as Mr. Devendra Savitri Tai Gangadhar Rao Fadnvis. And this is something that I think Vinod Tavde and others had done 10 years ago. They insisted on taking their mothers' names as well. So we are going to see a lot of these tokenisms going forward. I have no doubt in my mind that that narrative will have to continue. They've built it up, they'll have to keep feeding that narrative. And the real impact or the consequences of that are something that need a deeper look. Despite Ladki Bahin, despite maybe, lakhs of more women coming out to vote, what happened with the political parties? Did they give more seats to women? I was looking at it during the break, and no, they haven't. I mean, I've looked at it last week as well. There weren't more women candidates this time than the previous elections, right? Are there more women in the assembly? I just told you, no, we have fewer women than we did in the 2019 assembly. Um, is the Ladki Bahin Yojana going to continue? Are women below poverty line going to get 1,500, going to continue getting 1,500
Or
rupees a month?
2100. No, no, no.
Or
You
will
must
it
say
be 2,100
yes.
a month? And then
2100 was promised by Mahayoti. They said
2,100 was promised.
2100.
Now imagine what happens to the narrative if, after all this major hoo-ha, the government says, hello, we can't give you 2,100. Please, pardon your dear brothers, and we will make sure that you get something later. How is it going to look? Right? So, and if they continue on this track, um, the what is going to happen to the debt, the state debt, which is already in, the more, the bigger than it has ever been, and it just keeps like ballooning. So while this scheme itself doesn't have a problem, and it has run not just in Madhya Pradesh but in various other states as well. I think some states started it off during the pandemic also. The issue now is, can you, to keep up the narrative of the Ladki Bahin, can you keep doling out 1,500? For how long will you do it? Will you raise it? Will the government raise it to 2,100? For how long will you keep giving 2,100? At what point will you say enough and now we stop? At what point will you look at what it means to the exchequer? All of these questions will persist. But my more important point is this, that if you take the Mumbai metropolitan region out, the Mumbai and its neighboring cities out, maybe take Pune out, then the status of women in the rest of Maharashtra on education, on health, on maternal mortality, on workforce, labor force participation, is nowhere as good as it looks for the average Maharashtra numbers. These numbers, once you take Mumbai, Pune, Nashik belt out, Mumbai MMR belt out, the numbers are as bad as you would find in Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, and other states that we typically dismiss as the Bimaru states, right? So, is this focus or this new energy around women as my dear sisters, favorite sisters, is it going to have a real impact on the
The condition
indices
of
that
women
will
of
count in the
Maharashtra.
long run? But having said that, to women, even I've been on the field and I've seen this, even when women have worked on Narega, jobs, often the money is collected by the man of the house. They do the work, but the man of the house collects the money. Whatever money the woman earns in, the sugarcane where they go as a family, it's the man who gets the money for the entire family. What this yojana did very clearly was to give money directly to the women. And in many parts of rural Maharashtra, 1,500 rupees a month, and in many cases, it's 3,000 rupees in one household, because there is a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, maybe an unmarried sister-in-law, in which case it becomes 4,500 rupees a month. That's a huge amount of money there to buy your essentials, to run your households, to pay for your children's fees, tuitions, travel. So this has become a very useful amount for lakhs of women outside of maybe Mumbai Pune belt. But the questions for, I think, for discussion really are we going to keep it at this point, or is this going to get deepened through investments in basic services that raise the status of women on health, on education, on workforce participation, right? I think the
Very
cookie will
pertinent.
really crumble there.
Very pertinent, Smriti, and we will have to watch over the, at least in the budget, about the kind of allocations. So, you have to put your money where your mouth is, and we will have to see whether that commitment is really there once the government starts functioning. But since Shailendra Paranjpe was vigorously nodding his head just a while ago, let me take that last bit of question to him. Shailendra Paranjpe, you said that yes, there will be women's participation. How, Smriti laid out beautifully how that, we'll have to wait and watch if that really translates into the betterment of women folk in Maharashtra. But your two bits on this before we close the show.
2 points. One point is that this amount of 2100 promised, raising it from 1500, will be given in at least till local body elections, at least. Plus, Mr. Eknath Shinde, when he announced this rupees 1500, they really did not go for scrutiny. Whosoever applied has been provided money directly into their accounts. Now the stringent norms, then preconditions will be imposed so that that chunk will be reduced by a sizable number. One, but that will be after local body elections. Another thing is that as far as empowerment of women is concerned, now what Smruti has said is really right, that barring a few metros and big cities, condition of women is not at all at par. And the point that Ladki Behan has clicked, because in all the households, maybe in big cities or small towns or even in the rural areas, now women really don't have independence. If women are employed, they earn money in their families, and good amount of money in their families. And even in big towns, they have some kind of respect in the families. You both experience have better experience than me. So when this rupees 1500 has reached in their account, they are feeling empowered, and that is how now their husbands cannot snatch money from their hands, because that is in the banks. And that is the reason even minorities in the areas which are dominant minority areas in 8 to 10 cities, women have voted for BJP. Now that has not come to the fore, because you'll have to go for micro level survey for that. There are Muslim localities wherein BJP candidate has got sizable votes, and I'm sure male have not voted for BJP, but women who received rupees 1500 per month in their account. Even it is not possible for their husbands to snatch all the 1500 rupees. So getting at least 300 out of that 1500 per month remaining after the husband has snatched 1200 is a big amount for that lady in Muslim Mohalla. So, in the same way, that empowerment has percolated. So, now, as far as Smriti has pointed out, that there are lesser MLAs, this election was crucial because it was seen to be a tight election, touch and go election. That's why all the parties have given importance for winnability of the candidate. And that is how women are not there. Now, for Lok Sabha, Shobha Bachao, that experiment, that Malegaon, which voted one assembly segment, defeated all 5 segments in Lok Sabha. 1,094, 1,94,000 lead from Malegaon defeated all 5 constituencies, lead of 190. So, Shobha Bachao is not a local candidate from Dhulia. She was brought from Nashik. So, in the same way, for assembly elections, only elective merit was seen. That is how women have reduced. But in the coming days, when Lok Sabha will be having increased seats of women, they will have to give prominence to women, because while approaching local body elections, they will have to bring in ladies or women MLAs or women representatives for campaign also, because we are not only giving money to Ladli Bahana, but these are women leaders we have promoted. So there will be examples throughout all the regions of Maharashtra for the ruling alliance, especially Ajit Pawar and BJP to show that we have got women ministers. Like from Nashik, there are two aspirants, Devani Farhande as well as Seema Hire. From Pune, there is one, as I told you. From Nagpur also there are. From Marathwada there are. Pankaja is of course there, but there are others. Same way from Kokar. Kokar, there is no women representative as such who can become minister because it's a male dominant area. All the MLAs are there. So there will
Aditi,
be
apart from
examples.
Aditi.
Aditi Tadkare will be there because she was the helm of the affairs for women and women and child welfare, which has this scheme of Mahila empowerment. So that will remain
Yeah.
there, and Ajit Pawar will not lose that portfolio to BJP. Definitely, he will fight for that. So the point is, there will be women MLAs who will be made ministers, but they're eyeing on local body elections. As far as empowerment of entire women flow from the entire state, it will be a very slow process. But budgetary allocation will be there for Ladli Behna, at least in local body elections. It gives the burden of 64, 18,000, 18,000 crores additional. That is 46 plus 18, that is 64,000. And as far as loan is concerned, you are talking in terms of number loans, but debt to GDP ratio, they are within the permissible limit. And Kerala was forced to go to center because they could not give salaries of the government servants. That will not happen in Maharashtra. All three men was at the helm of the affairs and will go for swearing in this evening, are adequately capable of taking that care of financial health of the state, as well as double engine will be going to help from the center.
Well, opinion from Shailendra Paranjpe there. With that, we have a wrap on this show. While the discussion and debate about how the Maharashtra cabinet is going to look like, clearly it's going to be just the three top men who are going to take the oath of office today evening, and we will still have to wait for a few days to see who gets the ministerial berth. We have elaborately discussed about what the considerations will be, and that is why those who have been following Maharashtra nuances will also get an idea about the kind of names that came up in the show and that might likely be made the ministers in the coming assembly before the assembly session of the winter in Maharashtra begins in Nagpur by the mid of this month. We expect that the cabinet will be in place and that the procedure will be complete. Clearly, an unprecedented stage in Maharashtra where after these numbers, we've seen that in such a glitzy and massive ceremony today, it's only the chief minister and two deputy chief ministers who will take the oath of office. With that, it's a wrap from me, Vinaya Deshpande Pandit. Thank you for tuning on to this show. And thank you so much, Shailendra Paranjpe and Smruti Koppikar, for joining us today.
Thank you.